Hello, everyone. Welcome back for some more. Let's read Higurashi. We reached the halfway point in our chapter here, where we're going back to school to try and figure out what the frick is going on. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm very confused. Now, there's a good many things that this could be sort of going towards, right? Um, as usual, we're kind of stuck between, is it supernatural? Is it a big conspiracy? Both of these, 6, 7, both of these could very much be the way it's going, right? Did we warp to another world? Was there a doppelganger of us? There's the idea of, the doppelganger. Was it actually like, are we becoming Satoshi, and is Satoshi becoming us? Is the guy dead, and they're just continuing the conspiracy for some reason? There are so many potential ways this could go. But I've had a couple people say that this whole chapter is very Twin Peaks, and I have to say, I've never watched Twin Peaks, but I know of it, and I've heard, like, the influences of it and everything around it. I've just never experienced it myself, but I can kind of understand why people are making these connections, and it's extremely interesting. The confusion is an important part of it. So if you see me confused and you're worried, don't worry. It's absolutely the intended experience, right? So let's go back to school and see if we can figure out what the hell's going on here. It was at school. I pretended I'd forgotten something and was going back to the classroom to pick it up. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed by paranoia. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much, having to be so careful to fake it. Oh, this is interesting because this is in stark contrast to him kind of loving faking everything for the murder. After carefully verifying once more that nobody was watching, I went over to the locker. Yes, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat I found in this locker. Satoshi's bat. Oh no, this is good proof. Then, I'd thrown the bat into the swamp, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. I swear to God if it's back. But what if the bat was still in here? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea. But if it was true, it would explain a lot. It would basically mean that we just dreamt. We disassociated and dreamt the murder, if it's in there. If the bat was in here, yesterday's events would have all been a delusion. No, an illusion. I hadn't killed anyone, and I'd gone to the festival. I had a great time rampaging about with everyone. It would prove that Keiichi Maibara was, well, really me. Proof that I was only under some strange assumption that I killed Satoko's uncle. Proof that it had all been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing happened yesterday. I had just gone mad, unable to separate my shocking uncle-killing dream from reality. So, okay, unfortunately, I'm really, connected with this. And I've talked about these before in my videos, I have extremely vivid dreams. Quite famously, when I was playing Fate Stay Night, I had dreams of, being in basically the Fuyuki fire, and it was something that was so realistic, I'd wake up and freak out, and I would think it's real for a bit. I'm really bad for mixing up my dreams, which are hyper-realistic, and reality, to a point where I basically have to keep a dream journal to separate things that happened in the dream world and things that happen in real life. I've absolutely mixed them up before. So I can understand this being a thing, right? It's probably not a great thing on my behalf. I like it actually kind of scares me at times. But, that leads to some funny moments with sharing my dream journal with friends. But at the same time, it's almost a curse, right? I hear some people don't dream and they actually just get a good night's rest. Because God, you've never had, a bad night is when you have what you think would be a good sleep, but your dream was so stressful or your dream was so tiring that you wake up tired. Like, there's people that don't have that, and I'm kind of jealous of them, you know? Anyways, that would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? If it was here, nothing will have changed. If it was here, it would just mean I'd gone crazy. Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening it slowly, so I threw it open with a bang. And just like the first time, the choking scent of smell and sweat like a stale towel came flowing out. Okay, they used the word baseball there to make you freak out. There was a baseball uniform and some miscellaneous other things like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch. As for the bat, it wasn't here. It was how I left it when I took the bat out. There was no doubt. Yesterday really happened. Now that I knew I wasn't a lunatic, felt relieved. But at the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Hinamizawa was. And that was evidence of a reality I found just as difficult to accept. There was noise, somehow, creeping into everything I saw, and the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So, what did I know about last night now? Now that I made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? Well, for real, to the hospital. It was my first time going to the hospital, but from what I heard, it wasn't far from the school. My mom had told me where it was. A big, easy-to-see road went straight there. I went past the shopping street and made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign with Irie Clinic written on it. What is that? Alligator. There was one other person, an older man there in the air-conditioned waiting room. I went up to the counter and told him it was my first time here. The man behind the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. Clinic hours would be ending soon. As I sat in this unfamiliar waiting room, isolated from everyone, and let myself feel the cool air, I actually felt relieved. God, like I can't imagine a world of waiting rooms before cell phones or Game Boys at that. Hell. True hell. I mean, there's magazines, but like, man, what should I tell the doctor when he comes? I could tell him I had a cold, but I was the very picture of health. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted someone to confirm for me whether I was really sane or not.
前原圭一さん、診察室へお入りください。
Huh? The voice from the other side of the examination curtain. I was gonna say, I thought I'd heard it somewhere before. All right, they said he was a doctor, right? Yeah.
こんにちは。
Oh, wow. Dang, bro, you are looking professional.
ここでお会いするのは初めてですね。
Are you gonna be an entirely different personality while you're here?
監督ってお医者さんだったんですか？
Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he was, well, actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Irie Sensei, didn't she? Right, yeah.
一応お医者さんなんかやっています。
I don't like to hear that. What does that mean? Are you? Do you have a
お医
PhD?
者さんはいいですよ。若いすべすべなお肌を見放題の触り放題。
You know, rage bait is one of the words of the year. That's what you are. You're just a rage baiter. You exist to make me angry, which sucks because you're actually like a respectable character otherwise. You just exist to piss me off also.
怪しいお注射で自由を奪って私だけの専属メイドに。
ありがとうございました。
Yeah, no, the time for jokes is not now, buddy.
今のを見てただけで風邪が治りました。失礼します。ペコリ。
Polite bow.
わったったった。前原さん、冗談です。さあさあさあ、座って診察させてください。聴診器を当てますから前原さんのすべすべのお胸を見せてください。
Why? Oh, buddy. For some reason, I felt really relieved. It says something that this is what can bring you comfort at this time. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing he always did, and I was happy for that.
風邪ではないようですね。むしろ全身の擦り傷や切り傷の方が痛々しいくらいです。ひょっとして半袖半ズボンで藪の中に入って遊びましたか？切り傷から破傷風菌が入った可能性もないとは言えません
Oh,
し。
As I was chasing that man last night, I'd kept being scraped by bits of trees. I didn't realize I had so many cuts. Well, that's also like another solid piece of evidence that it was real. Like, why else would be all cut up, you know?
昨日のお祭りではしゃぎすぎましたね。
Like, I don't think the festival would get us all cut up.
若いというのはいいことです。
And once again, I apparently went to the
監
festival.
督も行ったんですよね。お祭り。
ええ、もちろんですよ。私こう見えても綿流しの実行委員会の役員ですからね。
Really? That's intriguing.
俺に会いましたか？
This coach was the same coach I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than my weird friends, so I asked.
実は私本部テントでずっと会長さんたちとお酒を飲んでたんで全然お祭りは見て回ってないんですよ。
Today must suck for you, dude.
前原さんには会ってないと思います。
そうですか。
変わった質問をしましたね。ひょっとして今日寝不足ですか？いけませんよ。成長期はよく食べよく寝て育つんですから。
Listen, that goes for you guys too, okay? Get some good sleep. You're watching this late at night, stop. Get some sleep. They'll be there in the morning. Also eat your vegetables, damn it. If you don't like them, learn to cook them yourself. More than likely, everyone who hates vegetables just grew up with parents who couldn't cook vegetables. Learn yourself. Anyways, Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in an unnatural way like Mion and Rena did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world.
こんな話、きっと変だと思うんですけど。
So, I'm really curious as to if Japanese has an effective vocabulary for describing mental health issues, right? One of the reasons that there's a stigma for it in many cultures is, okay, I'm making it sound like I'm an expert or something here. I'm pulling this out of my ass. I have no idea if this is the case. Are there cultures that have as many ways to describe mental health and problems in the head as English? Because I feel like English has a lot, but I wonder if all sort of groups have. I was gonna say something like, well, actually, the reason that it's not as good in other ones, that's like, no, full disclosure, I would have been pulling that straight out of my ass. Like, that's a guess. By the way, don't ever take anything I say for fact unless I know for sure it's fact, which you can usually tell by my voice. That would have been not. But I do wonder if Japanese has enough words to describe, like, you know, a dissociative disorder and stuff, or like, anything like that. But then again, there's a good chance Keiichi doesn't know that.
笑わないで聞いてほしいんです。
ええ、どうぞ。
And better yet, is he also like equipped for like mental health stuff? Because there are many types of doctors.
思春期のシャイな悩み、大いに歓迎ですよ。
Ugh, every time there's a star in your dialogue, I want to grab you by the neck and tombstone you out the window.
俺と瓜二つな人間がいるなんてありえますか？
All right. Gotta say, that's not where I expected him to go. Coach hadn't expected that question at all and couldn't say anything for a moment. Then he smiled calmly and quietly answered.
迷信ですが、世界には自分と全く同じ顔をした人があと2人いるなんて話を聞いたことがありますね。いるならぜひお会いしてみたいものですが。あと、おとぎ話にも自分の分身が登場する話がいろいろありますよ。ドイツのおとぎ話に出てくるドッペルのお化けなどは有名です。
I do find it interesting they keep the doppel, but they changed the second half for the Japanese translation of that.
ドッペルのお化け？
Yeah.
ええ、自分の姿に瓜二つなんだそうです。不幸の前触れなんだそうで、これにあってしまうと近いうちに死んでしまうみたいな話らしいですよ。
When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. The story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me. He was just offering a casual anecdote, but that made it feel all the more real.
そのお化けがひなみ沢に出るなんて話はありますか？
ええさて、どうでしょう。
Coach must have thought he was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew
す
fainter.
みません。ちょっと真面目な話のつもりだったんで。
いえ、こっちこそ笑ってすみませんでした。何か気になることでもおありですか？
Wondered if I should tell him. Then, after resolving myself one final time, I slowly spoke.
俺、昨日はお祭りに行っていないんです。
そうでしたか。お祭りは来年もあります。
That's not what we
その
mean.
時また。
そうじゃなくて、俺は祭りに行っていないのに、みんなが言うには、俺は祭りにいたらしいんですよ。こんなことってあるんですか？
Oh. After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully.
お話を整理しますね。つまり前原くんは綿流しのお祭りに行ったけど、その記憶がないということですか？
I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night, Keiichi Maibara was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. But that was absolutely impossible. That vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't have possibly been an illusion. All these scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact that the bat wasn't in the
い
locker.
え、違うんです、監督。俺は本当に祭りに行っていないんです。
気を悪くしないでくださいよ、前原さん。前原さんにはこれまでに気づいたら見知らぬ場所にいたとか、そういう記憶の欠落を経験されたことがありますか？
ないです。それに、記憶を失ったとかそういうのじゃない。だって、その祭りの時間には別の用事を確かにやっていましたから、寝てて意識がなかったとか、そういうのじゃありません。
その用事は間違いなく、大変失礼ですが、何かの思い込みでなく。
What I would do is I would lie and just say, like, I brought the baseball bat out to practice. I accidentally threw it in the swamp while I was practicing. I know I shouldn't have been there. And this morning it's still gone along with the scrapes. Right? Like, it's not wrong. Right? We're still close enough.
間違いありません。完全にはっきりとした記憶。いや、事実です。
お祭りの時間に神社にいなくてよそで別の用事をしていた。それをはっきりした形で証明できますか？
Yes. That's right. Thinking it through brought me to this. There was only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday. And that was to show that there was... Oh, yeah, I guess... Yeah, that's probably showing someone evidence that, That was to show there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. You know, are doctors supposed to... Does the Hippocratic Oath, does that like stop you from reporting crimes? Because I know, like, priests are supposed to keep that as a secret if you confess to a crime in confession, right? But at the same time, I think many still report it because that's also the right thing to do. But you know what? I have the internet. I'm going to check this out. Do doctors have to report crimes? Let's see here. I'm going into incognito because this is a scary thing to search. Do doctors have to keep crimes secret under Hippocratic Oath? Do they? Do doctors have to tell patients anything? Can a doctor break confidentiality? It's considered malpractice. How much secrecy? Okay, how much the act of secrecy is done by medical staff? I think I found it here. Okay, wait, this is in Iran, in South Iran. This is an abstract. Frick. I wish I could, like, okay, so let's just go Hippocratic Oath. Does it involve crime? Let's see here. What does it include? I will use treatment to help the sick according to my ability and judgment. I'll never use it to injure or wrong them. I actually can't find the information. In some countries, following the Hippocratic Oath is a crime. Wait, what? Oh, this feels like I'm going down... This feels like I'm going down a rabbit hole where I don't know if I should be looking this up. Right? Okay, yeah, let's... You know what? Because, the Hippocratic Oath is to do no harm, right? I will not give lethal drug to any who ask. But does that include... sending someone to jail? I guess that's the question. I don't know. I have a sister who's a nurse. I feel like if I asked her, she'd freak out. So I don't think I will. This is beyond my scope and scale. Anyways, I guess they would. Right? His eyes look cold. I guess they would after all. From Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo sputtering nonsense.
少し横になりましょうか。心を落ち着けて楽にしましょう。
別に横に遠慮します。
少し神経に高ぶりがあるようです。鎮静剤を注射して少し目をつむってみませんか？
Uh-oh.
それで
A sedative, you say? That's interesting. Remember at the end of the first chapter when we were sedated? And there was a director.
俺は異常者じゃない。
Oh, buddy, that's not the right answer. I realized Coach was treating me like a deviant, so I raised my voice.
気に障ったなら謝ります。ですからどうか落ち着いて。
俺は絶対に祭りには行っていない。それは本当に間違いないんです。
分かってます。分かってますから、どうか落ち着いて深呼吸を。
Are you not a good doctor? I feel like this is a textbook case of de-escalation you need to do.
あんたは全然分かっていない。
Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction.
分かっていますよ。前原さん、あなたは昨日はお祭りに来なかった。そうですよね。私は信じます。信じますよ。
Wait, no, he's actually de-escalating but writing down notes, I see. Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German. He speaks German? So that his patient wouldn't know what it said. We just look down and it's Das Kid ist fucking insane. I could make a good guess as to what he wrote.
あの時間に何をしていたか全部話さないと信じませんか？
いいえ、信じますから。どうか座ってください。
Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out and I quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now.
俺が祭りの会場にいることはありえない。なぜなら、その時間に
Are you?
Oh,
You're not going to say it, are you? Should I tell him or not? I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them. The final fatal words.
聡子の王子を殺していたからです。
Well, I guess we're going to learn how far the Hippocratic Oath goes. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us sharpen. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while.
あなたが聡子ちゃんのおじさんを？
I cannot believe we said this so quickly to someone. I was expecting this to be much more of a thing that we keep close to our chest. And yet mind you, we're telling it to the person who agreed with us, but yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Maibara. Don't hesitate. Admit it with all your strength.
はい、俺が昨日の夜殺しました。
I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank.
どうしてそんなことを？いえ、それは愚問ですね。
聡子を救う最も直接的な方法だと考えるに至り、後悔はわずかもありません。
そうですか。
He's smiling, which is very interesting. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit.
だから俺は祭りの会場にいるわけがないんです。
I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that, I dug holes, made phone calls. I had my hands full. And then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. I just thought, there is a person at this center who literally could be an alibi for us. But at the same time, she said to say that we didn't see her, you know? It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening but was suspended due to the rain. There were no gaps in my memories. From the late afternoon until it started to rain, there was no time for me to possibly have gone to the festival.
その体中の傷はその時に？
そうです。聡子の家を少し行ったところに林道がありますよね。あそこで襲い、逃げるあいつを追い、町に至る一本道で殺すに至りました。
それは本当に？
Killing her uncle. It wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell the coach didn't believe me. So I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited.
本当です。サトシのバットで殴り殺しました。そのバットはあいつが乗ってきたバイクと一緒に沼に捨てました。死体は殺した場所に穴を掘り埋めました。すべて自分が一人でやりました。
聡子ちゃんの叔父は バイクで通りかかったんですね。
Oh boy. I'm terrified of what he's gonna say. Is he gonna say, like, only his friends ride motorcycles?
ではあなたはそれを期待して延々と待ち伏せを。
あいつが家から出ないことは想定していました。だから電話で適当な嘘を喋ってあいつが出かけるように仕向けました。
電話で呼び出した。でもあなたの家とさとこちゃんの家は離れています。電話をしてからではとても待ち伏せに間に合わないのでは。
襲撃予定場所から最も近い電話として学校の電話を使いました。
でも前原さん、当日は日曜日です。学校には施錠がされていて入れないのでは。
偶然その時営林署の人が中に出入りしたんです。
It was very much extremely lucky.
その隙に入りました。
After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account.
信じましょう。あなたが昨日したことは夢とは思えない。
I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences, besides the ranger, or two convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or a delusion, and finally seemed to want to believe me.
これでもまだ俺が記憶をなくして祭り会場に行ったと思いますか？
Coach slowly shook his head.
でもクラスのみんなが昨日確かに俺が祭りにいたと言います。そんなことがありえるでしょうか？
あるわけがない。きっとクラスの皆さんはあなたによく似た誰かとあなたを見間違えたのでしょう。
Is it just Satoshi? From all the connections they've made, I assume that Satoshi and Keiichi look similar. That's just what I assume, at least. Was it Satoshi there pretending to be me? Slash, just was there acting, and everyone's like, "Well, there's Keiichi."
それに集団心理が働いて皆さんは
Huh.
あなたがお祭りにいたと錯覚してしまっているに違いありません。
They couldn't have mistaken me. Mion and all the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi Maibara. It was much more than just having mistaken someone else for me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones.
罪の意識はあるんですか？
It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. And even if he had, I would flatly have said the same thing.
ありません。あいつのいなかった平穏な時間を取り戻すために行いました。だから俺はあいつを殺したことなんかさっさと忘れてこれまで通りに生活するつもりです。あいつが現れる前、聡子がいつも見せてくれたあの笑顔が戻った時、ようやく全ては終わります。
犯行を誰かに目撃されたということは？
About that?
ないと思います。
Oh boy.
目撃されてればもうとっくに逮捕されてるでしょうから。
Oh, but maybe he's holding it back because of what she requested.
私は医者です。人の命を救う職にあります。だから私から人間の命を奪うことを肯定する旨の発言はできません。
Is it gonna be like, but?
だから私はあなたにこう言います。
Oh, hi. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder.
聡子ちゃんを救ってくれてありがとう。
Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. I actually can't tell who's crying from that noise. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears.
でもおかしいんです。
おかしいとは？
確かに殺したはずなのに、あの男は生きて家に帰ったらしいんです。
Coach's expression immediately sharpened.
状況にもよりますが、気絶や仮死状態など、素人が見ると死んだようにしか見えない状態もいくつかあります。その可能性は？
Is this where we say we caved in his freaking head?
脈を取ったわけではありませんが、確実に仕留めたと思います。
前原さんが襲った時の状況を
Oh
再
god.
現してもらってもいいですか？
We're gonna sound like a freaking crazy man. Coach rolled up a health and fitness week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bat. Though I may have been lost to the emotions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung from, and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over, one by one.
そして、あいつが足を取られてよろめいた時、脳天にこう叩きつけました。その時、これまでとは違った手応えがありました。頭蓋骨が割れたんだと思いました。
Coach was calmly analyzing this information, using the places I'd struck and the situation at hand to find out what state the uncle's body had been in.
そして、死んだかどうか自信が持てなかったので、倒れた後も何度か殴りつけました。
その時の反応は？
初めは殴るたびに体が跳ねるような感じがありましたが、やがてそれもなくなり、何の反応もなくなりました。
Like that would imply death, right? Because the human body unconsciously reacts to stimuli. So even if you're unconscious and you got whacked, it's sort of like when your knee gets hit. You'll move unconsciously. But if that stopped, he's probably dead. Coach folded his arms and said a few times. And then he spoke.
死んでいます。
Yeah.
ほぼ間違いなく。
Yeah, right?
それは仮死状態ではなく、
前原さんの話からだけではなかなか判断がつきませんが、ほぼ確実だと思います。それに前原さんは死体を泥の中に埋め、結構な時間をかけて埋めていますよね。仮に30分で埋めたとして、その男は30分間も泥水に沈められていたことになります。それだけの時間、
Yeah,
呼
right?
吸が
Yeah.
止められたら
Yeah.
確実に脳死します。
殴った強さ以前に埋める過程で確実に絶命したと。
そういうことです。30分間泥に埋められていて生きていられる人などありえません。
God, I did not expect this to go this way at all.
ありえないですよね。でも聡子は生きてると。
There is entirely the possibility that the uncle exists only in her head now. And I don't mean that maybe I don't think in a physically a physically way of seeing him. It could be like a persecution complex sort of thing. Or it could be like she sees him when he's not even there, like it's that deep of a trauma. Coach, a doctor, just gave a stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfair that he could still be among the living. Couldn't we just go to his house and throw rocks or something?
これはとても恐ろしい想像なのですが、
Oh my god.
前原さんが殺した相手が
Right?
叔父でなく別人である可能性は？
I was worried about that.
え？
He's right. That could be why. It cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive.
そんなはずはない。だってほら、監督と一緒に聡子の家の前で酒瓶の袋を運んだ時、窓から顔を出した男がいたじゃないですか。
What if that wasn't him?
あいつですよね。
Oh my god, if he says that wasn't him?
聡子のおじは。
ええ、
Okay,
間違いありませんよ。
okay, oh my god.
あの男です。
実はもう一人おじがいるなんてことは。
聞いたことがありません。あの男だけです。
あいつの特徴を教えてもらえますか？
まず身長がですね、
Okay.
175、もう少しあるかもしれません。
I hate when they use these numbers. Okay, so 175. Centimeters to feet. How big is that? Okay, bro was like 5'9". Okay, so a little tall. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I'd killed someone else, Coach began 5'9" and 90 kilograms. Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I had told him the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed, but the weight. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all the exact same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were all extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. The weight.
もっとこう絶対にあいつだと識別できる特徴はありませんか？
そういえば私は見たことありませんが、
Uh-huh.
聡子ちゃんが昔背中に虎だかなんだかの入れ墨があるなんて言っていたような気がします。
Are we gonna dig up the body to look for that?
入れ墨
That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo, in Japan at this time, right? I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse. It'd be proof I killed the right one. At the moment, though, there was only one other thing that would verify this. To go to Satoko's house and see for myself the uncle that had returned home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satoko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet, he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding, or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi Maibara had been at the festival, despite it being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa.
一体どういうことなのでしょう。前原さんはお祭りには行かず、聡子ちゃんのおじさんを殺していたにもかかわらず、お祭りにはあなたがいて、そして殺したはずのおじさんも生きている。
Is there maybe like a thing where there's always multiple of the Tatarigoroshi victims? The killed and the disappeared? Is there maybe situations where there's more than... I don't know. Like, I'm thinking, like, what could that mean? Why was there multiples of both of us?
何がなんだかさっぱりわからないです。そうやって整理して言うと、まるで俺が悪い夢を見ていて、実は殺人なんて存在しなかったんじゃないかと思えてしまう。でも事実なんです。この手でバットでガツンガツンと殴ったあの感触は絶対に夢や幻なんかじゃないんです。
God, this section is very like Tsukihime with the who's killer and the actual potential it's us, but also the non-potential. Coach let out a slow sigh, and after looking at the clock, got up.
ちょっとこの話、もう少し真剣にやりましょう。ちょっと失礼して、紅茶でも入れてきてあげます。診療所も終わりの時間ですからね。ジムの方とかも返してあげないと。
Oh my god, what if we see her? Coach stood up and went out into the hallway. Do we know that she works here, actually? Has that been told to us in this route? Leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and the uncle I'd killed was alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of the fact that proved it happened was the absence of that bag from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Normally that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run. He cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my tension... Okay, sorry, I just saw that word and didn't... Yeah. My tension smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized that your boy had to strain the potatoes. Thought I had to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. Is this where we see her? Oh boy. As soon as I left the room, I saw a coach and two male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the two doctors. Oh, they're coming to
紅茶ですね。
take me away.
用意します。
Is that a code word? Clinics and places like this have code words. Like, my sister just told me about how she went under Code Orange, which is a code for mass casualty event, and how that was like, there's codes for all of them.
睡眠導入剤を入れて種類は任せます。
Never mind, it's not a code word, they're just trying to sedate me.
味はミルクと砂糖でごまかしてください。
急激な眠気に不信感を
Oh,
抱く可能性もあり
this
ます
music starts again. The tumbling music.
興奮状態に陥って暴れ出す可能性も。
その場合は取り押さえましょう。男性スタッフはまだ何人か残ってますか？
山犬が1人、
What?
それに私たちを含めて3人です。
What do you mean one mountain dog? Do you mean an actual dog? What? What was all this? I think I was already agitated despite what Coach said. Was that it? Was it just a casual conversation and it was only... Wait, was it a just casual conversation and it was only sounding unbelievable to me? Coach said he would bring some black tea and left the room. And then in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea? Plus, they were getting extra help. In case I thought the sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent? Hey, wait, Keiichi Maibara. Calm down, calm down. There's no way something that stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story and he even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Hinamizawa who would understand. This was...
作り話か虚言の兆候があり、特に昨日の記憶が完全に混乱。虚実の区別の喪失、多重人格等の精神障害に酷似しています。
Okay.
でも、こんな急激な精神障害の発症は普通では考えられません。あるいは先天的、もしくは引っ越し前からそういう兆候があったのか。引っ越し前に精神科に通院例がないか調べたいところです。とにかく前原さんには穏便にお休みいただきます。
Didn't I bring up the idea of multiple personalities early on? The second Keiichi in his head? But what if he's right? The two doctors nodded
前
deeply.
原さんのご両親にも連絡しておいた方が良いですね。何と言えばいいか言葉が思いつきませんが、彼の自宅の電話番号を調べてください。
My eyes, still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he actually understood and had believed what I told him. Now, from the other side of that wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. I believed you. I believed you. I had let down my guard because I thought you were the only ally I had left after that insane night. Was that a lie? All that about thanking me on Satoko's behalf. Were you just pretending in order to keep me placated? My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up.
入江先生、大変です。高野さんが見つかりました。
高野さんが
Oh,
一体どこに？
oh, she wouldn't be here.
それが山中で焼死体で発見されたらしく。
She did burn in the fire.
死んだ？高野さんがですか？
The men, all surprised, exchanged glances. Dead? Takano-san? Hey, wait. So, then, does that mean when I cursed her wishing for her death, that wish was granted?
焼死とは一体どういうことですか？ それは事故ですか？
県警の発表では他殺の可能性が極めて高いと。
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I don't think burned alive in the mountains is an accident that happens quite often. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right. Serves you right. If I had run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come driving up to me and try to coerce me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot. But now she was dead anyway. My curse, my wish for her demise, it was fulfilled. Serves you right. Serves you
リサ
right.
さんが死に、高野さんが死に、一体ひなみ沢には何が起こっているというんですか？
Was Risa-san well known?
まさかこれが今年のお社様のたたりだなんて言うんじゃないでしょうね。
Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't Oyashiro-sama, but this was definitely a spell. A curse. Tatari. I wished for her to die. So she did. This wasn't just a coincidence. And she died because I wished for it. And you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down, you thought I was a madman. You looked down on me with all the pity in your eyes.
では、とりあえず紅茶の準備を。紅茶は私が持って入ります。私以外には彼は心を許さないようですからね。
Shit. Shit. What do I do? What do I do, Keiichi Maibara? This time I heard the voice of a
入江
nurse.
先生、あ、いらっしゃいましたか。お電話です。
今ちょっと忙しいので、後でかけ直すと伝えてください。誰からです？
The police?
沖宮警
Oh,
察
yeah.
の大石様ですけど。
ちゃー、悪いタイミングですね。出ます。
Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make the black tea like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call would mean there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink the sedative-infused tea or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. We had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If it came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. I couldn't win against them. There was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen insight like it had on that night. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission routes between my cells enlarged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little beyond that was a bicycle I'd taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I had had on the night I chased her uncle. I unlocked the window and opened it up. A cool evening breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around, then I jumped onto my bike and zoomed away. The pedals clattered under the force. Had my bike always creaked like this? Did the pedals always whine every time I pushed down on them? My bike wasn't the only one crying, though. My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rode in the breeze and scattered behind me. I hate this. I'm not the crazy one. Hinamizawa is... How dare you treat me like a madman? Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you. Not doing that. I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Rena and Mion's invitation. The reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane, me or Hinamizawa? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling into the wind? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. Okay, you can't do the title drop twice in the chapter. The pained wailing of those lost in some kind of rhythm, in another world, no longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like that. And actually, about at this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Satoko would have gotten her smile back after realizing her uncle hadn't come home. She might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. So, what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I'd killed was living like normal, and I'd enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it start to go wrong? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned home. It had begun to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart that Coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly, was far worse. Did I have no allies in Hinamizawa anymore? With the naive thought, I at least wanted my parents to side with me. I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Yes. I wanted to dig up the man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there was a tiger tattoo there, I knew beyond a doubt. I would know beyond a doubt that he was Satoko's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all reparation, all a divine punishment, then I needed to make certain whether I'd been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never, ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hands was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthless coldness about it. Yeah, it'd be dark soon, so I'd need that lantern too. There'd be a little bit of light from the streetlights, but it would get extremely dark. I thought I put the lantern here, but suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. And then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course, on that night I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. Oh no, buddy. I'd left it at the place I buried the body. Didn't go get it soon, it would be very dark. And then not only would I be unable to find the spot where I buried the corpse, I wouldn't be able to find the lantern itself. If that happened, it was all over.
急ごう。
In order to fit the shovel in the basket on the front of my bike, I needed to twist and disassemble it. But it looked like there was dirt in the joints, and no matter how hard I pushed, it didn't want to come apart. After a strenuous effort, I realized I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it in one hand and ride my bike with the other. With the downpour soaking me through, and a shovel in one hand, and riding one-handed, it was as if I'd returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It was more like that night had never ended. The pain of the raindrops striking me were no different from then. The thing that was different was I burped. Hinamizawa. That was a hiccup, more like it. The world, and nothing else. The rain clouds were already making it dark, so now it was about time for the sun to set. I could tell it would only get rapidly darker. The straight road leading to town, in the middle of it. That should be where I buried it. Yes, it was near that streetlight. On that night, too, the water from the downpour was splashing down from the streetlight's overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus it brought my memories into focus. I left my bike in the brush and stepped into the forest, the ground already soaked with mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud, everything was the same. Think! And then, I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss-covered tree. That's right, I left it right there. If I left the lantern here, then I would have buried him over here. With the sensation of standing in the sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my eyes did. I plunged my shovel into the ground. It's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up so it should have been softer. I stick my shovel down a few spots to test what they feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things were in relation to each other, and knew it had to be here. Under here slept that man's corpse. There would definitely be the tattoo of the tiger on his back. But if it wasn't there, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Satoru's uncle wasn't dead, and I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. If this insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder, I wouldn't be able to accept it until I killed Satoru's uncle for good. And then without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That would mean I killed Satoru's uncle. But that would be terribly strange. If I killed him for sure, then who was the uncle at Satoru's house this very moment? Impossible. I didn't even know what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I've used the word quite a few times today. If I had to make the word impossible fit just one thing, what would it be? Not much was obvious to me.
こんなおかしな世界がありえてたまるかよ。
I shouted, then turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me this entire day. Even just now, an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. No one was actually there. No indications of anyone even. But they were there.
あんたは誰だ？俺がこっちの世界に来てからずっとついてくるな。
That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I had parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange inside-out world. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into empty space for a bit, as I bathed in the rain, my illogical anger slipped away. My tension loosened and a tired feeling reared its head. I tasted this feeling that night too. Sudden exhaustion I felt as the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed and felt like everything around me had gotten darker. I couldn't give in to the sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then I struck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. Felt exactly the same as that night. A sense of digging a hole in the beach with water coming into it with every wave. What day was today? Had I gone back to the night of Tatarigoroshi? Every strange thought that came to mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set, too. At night, I feared the worst and gone without much light. My senses were so strained that I could see even in that darkness. But now, I didn't have that kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern. Putting it in the first setting would give off a faint light. Even with how little it was enough, and people wouldn't be able to see it from far away in this rain. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, set it to the weakest light setting, and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex and strange shadowy world created by intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I'd only turned on a light, and it was like it was all it took to make the world into something else. I let out a quick, tired breath, wiped the liquid, neither rain nor sweat, from my brow, raised my shovel into the air and slammed it into the mud. That moment. Oh, wait, what? Silhouettes surrounding me ominously moved at once. Inside my head, something packed in there, something coarse but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing about. Silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me. And one of them, a silhouette bigger than the others, stepped forward. Oh my god, there was a shadow there.
こんばんは。
There was a shadow there. There was a shadow there. It was there. Okay, people before said there was no shadow there and they were gaslighting me. It was there.
ふんふんふんふん
Oh, don't give me this.
月の綺麗な晩ですね。
Oh my god, you're giving me that? Oh, I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. The coarseness of my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. The strength in my body all left me through my hips, and I crouched down with a splash into the sea of mud I dug myself.
おいし。
目上の人にはその後に3もつけるとなおよろしいかと思いますよ。そうでないと大人になってからいろいろと苦労します。
It wasn't only Oishi, uh-oh, but five or six of them in a row. Well, good thing it wasn't 6 or 7. Men wearing raincoats. I had no inkling that this many people had gotten so close. It was like, once I turned on the lantern, they just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows.
どうぞ私たちのことは気にしないでください。森の木立だとでも思って。
Oh god. Don't mind them?
そうです。私たちのことは気にされず、どうぞ穴掘りをお続けになってください。
That's an incredible double entendre that probably doesn't exist in Japanese.
こんな時間にこんな土砂降りの中でそんなにも真剣にやっているんですからね。邪魔なんかしませんよ。心ゆくまで掘っちゃってください。
We're screwed. Like we're screwed. No, thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, 2 men blocked that route. Oh god. They stood on either side of me and lifted me up with amazing strength and threw me into the sea of mud. As I soaked in the mud bath I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Oishi squatted, picked up my shovel, and threw it at my feet for me. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face.
ほら、続きをどうぞ。続きを。
I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouettes surrounding me, and slowly I stuck the shovel into the mud again. It felt like I was digging my own grave. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over, surrounded on all sides and nowhere to go. I just couldn't figure out, no matter how much I thought about it, why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who could have made the connection between me and this place. Shit, I knew it. She deserved to
手
die.
が休んでますよ。
Bam. Oishi kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud.
ちゃっちゃと掘っちゃってくださいよ。雨の中で待たされる方の身にもなってほしいもんです。
くそ。
You know what? That's not like so. This line here is actually normally you wouldn't translate Kuso as that, but this is a great example of, I would say, intent matters more than being exactly literal, because yeah, that's what he would say here instead of just, you know, shit.
そんなに雨が嫌なら帰ればいいだろう。あっ
Oishi kicks some mud into my face.
口より先に手を動かしてください。
Oh my god.
口と手を一緒に動かすのは落語
Wait.
家だけ。
Wait, that's kind of a good line.
ね
The men around him did react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but when Oishi glared at them, they started mumbling out pained chuckles. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night. But if I went even further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken from us. Ever since he showed up in Hinamizawa, things had been odd. Everyone stopped smiling, the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, even I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep on that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked and I sat down on the
い
spot.
つまで掘ればいいんだよ。
最近の若い人は体力がありませんね。おい。
At Oishi's gesture, the men all pulled out their own sinister-looking shovels. As I watched a daze, one of them grabbed my collar, dragged me out of the hole, and threw me to the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them dumbfounded, Oishi sauntered over and squatted down to look at me directly.
前原圭一さん、あなたの趣味は雨の夜の穴掘りですかな？
Yes, I have the tism and this is my hyperfixation, and you can't prove otherwise. When I didn't respond, Oishi took one of the tin buckets they were using to bail out the muddy water, scooped up some of it, and splashed the whole thing in my face. Oh, it's muddy water! That's gonna reduce our speed!
今日は大雨ですから、これ以上いくら濡れても全然わかりませんね。
Oishi smiled to himself, then scooped up another bucket full of muddy
もう
water.
一回聞きますよ。あなたの趣味は雨の夜の穴掘りですかな？
そんな趣味のやついるもんか。
Splash. Oishi hit me with another bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung. Oh god, that's bad. That's like when snowballs have rocks in them.
あの穴を掘ると何が出てくるんですかな？私、花坂じいさんのここ掘れワンワンってのが昔から憧れでしてね。
The way he didn't say puppy but said wah wah is adorable. In a weird old man way. As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it in my face again.
あそこにどんな宝物が埋まってるんですかね？私にちょっとだけでも。
If you want to know, then dig on your own time. You fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in muddy water again anyway. I think police can tell when you even think the word pig, and then they shoot you, as police do. Shit. Shit. If only you hadn't shown up, the world wouldn't have gone wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Satoko got abused by her uncle. I ended up killing him and the world went crazy. He was how it all began. Because of this culprit. He splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die. You die too. I had some strange power to kill someone by cursing them like with Takano-san. Then you're dead. It won't be Oyashiro-sama's curse. It'll be mine. I'll curse you and kill you.
反抗的な目つきですね。これを機に少しそのあたりをお勉強してしまいましょうか。今は平和な時代ですがね、私があなたくらいだった頃は何でも鉄拳制裁が普通でして。
Bro really hit us with the you can't beat kids anymore, huh?
大石さん。
One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Oishi over. Oishi tossed the bucket away and turned around with an evil grin on his face.
はいはい、何でしょうか。
これを見てください。
Acceptance or maybe resignation. I wanted to say them, so you blockheads finally found it. Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your own job to figure out who he is, right? Come on, prove to me that he's really Satoko's uncle.
何ですかこりゃ。
多分古い排水管ではないかと。あそこの用水路に繋がっているようです。
ぶっ壊しちゃいましょうか。
Didn't we hear something about an old drain pipe? And an irrigation channel at the very start?
どうせ使ってない缶でしょ。
The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly broached another topic.
大石さん、もうかなり手応えが固いです。これより深くってことはありえないと思います。
掘る場所を間違えました。
いえ、初めのうちは明らかに掘り返す感触でした。ですが、このくらいを掘った頃から急に硬くなりまして、多分もともと掘った穴よりも深く掘り進んだのだと思います。
じゃあつまり何ですか。ここには穴があって何もなく、ただそのまま埋め直されたと皆さんそうおっしゃるわけで。
What? What were they talking about?
こりゃ参ったな。ねえ前原さん。
Oishi grabbed my collar and dragged me to the huge hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean, and I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard. There was no doubt I'd buried him right here. But I hadn't buried him this deep. I didn't dig deep enough to unearth an entire drain pipe. So, then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof. Proof I'd been successful in the night was gone. Gone. Then, what on earth was I actually crazy after all and just possessed by the delusion that I'd killed someone? That couldn't be. It was the unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here, had he started breathing again, crawled out and gone back to Satoko's house? Was that it? I'd come here to see whether he had a tattoo or not, and yet the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt, but for some reason he lived and he crawled back out, and that was impossible too. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Hinamizawa. And I'll kill you as many times as I need to. I'll keep killing you until you never show your face to Satoko again. Oishi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually their conversation ended and Oishi came towards me. What did he want to say? What did he want to do? I stiffened, tensing up. And then Oishi just ignored me like I wasn't even there, and passed right by me. The other men too, they ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually there was no longer a sign that anyone was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one left there was me. Only the sound of the pouring rain filled up the silence. I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream. What the hell is happening? I am so gripped by the testicles right now to try and figure out what is going on. And better yet, how are we going to gone turned up nothing? That's a great achievement. How are we going to go back home? As soon as we're gone, the hospital's going to call and say, hey, your son was here and told us he killed someone. We think yeah, that's a problem, right? We're like, there's nowhere safe anymore. We're just not safe. This is incredibly terrifying storytelling, you know? Man, I don't even know what we're gonna do. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I need to put my new hat on, so give me a second here. All right, your boy is ready to read some police files and figure out what the frick is going on. Record of Malice has no icon. That's scary, but what's the inquiry here? Okonomiya Police Station Command Center transmission recording. June 20th, 8:08 p.m.
こちら沖宮 PS 感度良好です。
車両ナンバー紹介をお願いします。獅子骨歯の4344。
副将獅子骨歯の4344。少々お時間もらえますがよろしいですか？
お願いします。
Number match, Shishibone H4344. Owner. Address. Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Vehicle make and model. Toyota Corolla. Theft reports none. Special mentions, nothing of note.
沖宮 PS より大石社どうぞ。
It's just a
先ほどのナンバーが判明しました。
regular vehicle, right?
大石社どうぞ。大石社応答願います。あれ？
Huh?
電波悪いのかな。大石社応答願出ませんね。
What?
大石さんが車両紹介？誰の車だよ。
村人の車ですね。至って平凡な。
何者だよ。
突起事項欄は完全に空欄ですね。S 号指定もなし。減点もなしだし。
Dang.
パッシングでもされて腹が立ったんじゃないの？
That's kind of funny.
根に持つとなかなか忘れないタイプなんだよ。
Is that it? Okay, what is record of malice? He said it smelled. He said the food smelled. He said it smelled because Is this Satoko? He said it smelled because I smelled. He said I smelled because I don't take baths. He said to take a bath 3 times a day because I was a smelly person. He said I had to stay in the bath for a long time every time. He must be possessed by something too. It's the same thing the man who died said. Huh? Why does he know what that man said before? That much is obvious. The same thing that possessed that man is now possessing him. Can't a sudden earthquake make a big hole open in front of the house? If it did, he would definitely go and look in it. And then I just have to push him in. I won't give in until I get that chance. I won't give in. I won't cry. I won't give in. I won't cry. Someone is apologizing again. Oh. Huh. Huh. There's a lot we could glean from that. Well, next time, Chapter 12. I don't know how many chapters this is. What I can do is I can check on the Steam here for at least how many achievements we have left. We have looks like we have 5 achievements left. So that would probably be 1 for finishing tips, 1 for the after party, and then 3 chapters roughly. That's probably what we got. So yeah, probably about 15, kind of the normal, right? So yeah, thank you all for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time as we continue to lose our minds and experience a terrible time in this village, because this village, I mean, I still want to visit this place in real life, but I don't know if is it going to be like this? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm terrified. Is it the village or is it us? Who knows? So we'll see you guys next time for some more Higurashi When They Cry, Tatarigoroshi. Ciao. Yo.